So first off, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you coming. For those of you who don't know, Will is a senior UX designer at PayPal. He has spent nearly a decade leading, creating, launching design solutions at small to large size corporations, including the Home Depot, HostGator, Eli May, Cornell University, Farouk Systems, Servita, and Boom Writer. Will is a critical thinker with a front-end development background, a founder, a speaker, and a coach. In his downtime, he enjoys mentoring designers on best practices and the realities of a UX practitioner. So, Will, thank you again for coming, and I'd love to throw the floor over to you.
Thank you, Frankie. It's a pleasure to be here. Hey, guys. It's going to be a great day. This is actually my first event of the year 2021. So that's exciting. Exciting to be the first. Okay, so my name is William Ntim, and I feel like a lot of people probably already connected with me, but I'm a senior UX designer. I recently published a book as well, so I guess I'm an author as well. But I love everything UX. You know, I love doing UX. I'm a creative. I'm an artist, and you know, the journey has been great, and I just love teaching or sharing tips and anything that I can do to help. Right. So today we're going to talk about how to reverse engineer your UX career. What that really is and means is, let me share my screen. You know, in simple words, how can you become your definition of UX success, right? Because everyone's definition of success is different. So really, that's what we're going to be looking into today. Let me share. I think you can see it. Can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up. Yeah, okay, sweet. Today's lesson, we're just going to talk about how you can reverse engineer your ideal UX career. Your definition is, your definition of UX success is going to be different than, you know, the other person, and that's okay. I just want to kind of point out that, you know, we're not going to be judging, and I wouldn't expect all of us to have the same, I guess, goal. My goals in UX in this career might be different from yours, and that is okay. So what is your definition of UX success? Like, you know, everyone has a definition. Everyone sees himself somewhere or at some place in a specific and unique way. We're going to be talking about that. How do you get there, right? Because there are lots of new entry-level UX designers that aspire to, you know, to work at large companies or to do different things, but they may feel stuck where they are now, right? So hopefully we're gonna address that today. I'm gonna be moving very fast, so I would suggest that you take notes, get out a pen and a paper. That is also part of your job as a UX professional. You have to be able to get in and take notes and write and sketch things down. So please do that. I don't have a ton of slides. There will be more talking and more, I guess, brainstorming, ideation, sketching, sort of interactive talk today. So you have to pay attention. You have to be with me throughout. And then I'm going to try to move super fast so that we can have some time at the end for questions and things like that. So let's see here. The first part of this process of getting to where you want to be is to identify your why. Now, everything I'm going to talk about is going to be slightly different from what you know, what you've heard before, right? There's going to be a lot of practical tips, a lot of unorthodox, you know, no big words, just plain raw tips of how to get you from where you are to where you want to go. Identify your why. What is your reason for being in UX? Why are you here? Why are you even at this talk? It's very important to identify that why. Many designers are super passionate about design. I'm very passionate about design. I love creating. I love human-computer interaction and just designing, you know, an application or an interface that actually gets deployed and that is, you know, is shipped out into the market. Just the satisfaction that I receive from seeing my products being used out there is incredible. So personally, passion is a big one. Creativity is a big one. And of course, the monetary aspect is also good. I mean, hey, that's also a great one as well. And then, you may want to be an author in future, or you might want to work for a specific company. What is your motivator? Why are you here in UX? Is it for job security? Whatever it is, we're not going to judge, but it is up to you to identify that why, so that you can, that's step one. That's the starting point. Once you identify, okay, look, I might just, we hear a lot about this terminology, imposter syndrome, but it's like, well, are you just an imposter, or are you just really trying to do something with your life, or you're looking to really just, have job security? Whatever it is, identify that why. We're going to start there. This reverse engineering your ideal UX career is actually just 2 steps. And you're going to laugh, but check this out. I'll explain. So the first step is to identify your why. And then the second step is to let your why dictate your where. If you can take notes and put these 2 steps down, I think you get the whole talk. You can literally like log off and you're good. That's everything you need to know. We're gonna dig deeper, but I just want to point that out. That is the meat of everything I'm going to be talking about today. It is mental, it is very honest, and it's very personal. You have to be honest with yourself. UX design, we talk a lot about empathy. We talk a lot about, it's an emotional discipline, okay? So you have to start with that honesty and just that, that self-awareness in order to get you to where you want to go. Let your why dictate your where. Where do you want to see yourself? What does UX success look like to you? Do you want to be, do you want to own an agency someday? Do you want to be a highly sought after designer? Just companies trying to find you. Hey, we want you to come work for us. Hey, are you available? Hey, would you do this project for us? We'll pay you $50,000, an hour for you to work in a project for us. Are you looking for that? Or are you looking to make social impact through design? Or are you looking to work for a specific company? I want to work at Google, I want to work at PayPal. What is your motivator, right? I want to work at Facebook, whatever it is. Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? But if you start answering the where first before you figure out your why, you're doing it backwards. Even though today we're going to be doing it backwards and reverse engineering it, you have to start with the why. And then once you're able to answer that honestly, sincerely to yourself, tapping into your joys and your passion, like what gets you excited about UX? Are you just doing it just to do it, or you're genuinely excited about about a particular aspect of it? So now that you identified your why and you have discovered your where do you want to go? Get creative. There's no limit. You can get to any level in UX that you want to get to. So now you know where you want to go. What happens now? That will be the next step. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're taking you from why to where. For the purpose of this talk, I'm just going to choose one common example, and then I'll dive deeper into kind of the journey that'll get you there. So the why for the sample why in this scenario will be job security. This candidate is looking to just have job security. They want to get to a place where they're so highly sought after. They're such, a great UX professional with a high reputation that every company wants them to work for them. What that means is they won't have to apply to jobs ever again, because there's always going to be a position or a company trying to find them, right? So that's the example we're going to use throughout this process. But there are lots of different aspects that will apply to a majority of your whys and your wheres. So as you take notes, even though I would try to tailor it specifically to these two factors, you're still going to find similarities and a lot of great material to pull from as you identify your individual whys and wheres. This journey, this middle part is where we're going right now. And this is it. I can't see myself. I can only see Frankie in the corner, but this is where we're going. Can you guys see this? All right, so the journey here in this arrow is here. That's you. That's where you're trying to go. And this is everything that you need. Don't worry, I have a photo of it. I'm gonna share it, so. So that's where, so we're gonna do now. I wanted to show you that so you can see, because a lot of times we think, this is it right here. So this is what I showed you. Your why, you're here, but this is where you're going. We're gonna be digging into all the crazy details up there. That's what we're gonna be working on, okay? So I have a sketch file that's open here, and I just imported, I took a photo and imported it, and I want us to just kind of tackle it and dig deeper. Oh, let me admit some more people. All right. So for this example, as I said, we have job security. What you're looking at is a raw sketch, you know, whiteboarding. We're UX designers. If you're not doing this, you should be doing it. I have whiteboards everywhere. You can see huge whiteboards. You need whiteboards to work. Even if you're working on a small project, sketching, brainstorming, you have to be able to the first thing you want to do is to be able to sketch and pour your ideas down on paper. I wrote a chapter in the upcoming book, the 97 Things Every UX Practitioner Should Know, you know, published by O'Reilly. And I talk about harvesting your ideas in there. So that's something that, you know, whenever it comes out, just make sure you check out. But you have to get into sketching, buy markers, you know, sticky notes. You have to be doing that, right? So that's fine. All right, job security. Why? Well, this candidate wants job security. I'll just say, I'll use myself. So I want job security. I don't want to have to spend months applying to jobs, emailing people, you know, on LinkedIn inboxes. Hey, can you no, nobody wants to do that. It's tiring. I'm sure you guys can relate. So, before we begin, I assume that by the time you're here asking yourself why, you already graduated boot camp, you have a certificate, you know, you've done some kind of UX training, and then you're ready to really either break into the industry or just kind of start that journey, right? So, but if you're like entry level, then I think you're gonna have to first study the discipline and get a certificate, take courses, et cetera, before you get to this point of really trying to figure out where you're gonna go. So, the why is job security. All the way down here, we have your where right here, okay? Highly sought after UX professional. Now, we're gonna work our way back all the way through this journey. This is the journey right here, okay? Can everyone see my arrow? I mean, my cursor, mouse, okay. So this is the journey, why all the way down to where, right? So that's what we're doing. Now, before you get to where, before you are a highly sought after UX professional, you have to be found, right? You have to be found. So that's this part that you see here. I hope you're taking notes because, you know, and, you know, we're going to get this digitized and we'll share it later on, et cetera. But for now, you have to be able to take notes. So in order to be sought after, you have to be found. In order to be found, you have to position yourself properly so that you can be found easily. How do you do that?
And then there might have been some.
You have to network. You have to network. Now, networking does not just mean adding people on LinkedIn. It's bigger than that. So, so networking means every relevant network that your research will guide you to. Every relevant network that your research will guide you to in relation to UX and the discipline or the industry that you're looking to get into. Currently, there's Meetup, obviously LinkedIn. Clubhouse is making a lot of waves lately. I myself haven't joined yet, but too busy, but I hear a lot of great things about Clubhouse. TikTok, I'm sure there are things happening on there. And then of course, YouTube, several communities on YouTube that are just learning and networking and building really strong communities. Your research is going to help you identify those networks that you want to be a part of. Let's scooch over onto this side where I show you the steps. The first step, of course, is to do your research. After you identify your why, you're going to want to do your research. Your research on the where. If you want to be highly sought after, what does that look like? Research other designers that always have jobs, that are turning down jobs for major companies, that seem to be doing very well. What does that look like? Maybe you might want to even, have a one-on-one on them, virtual coffee, whatever it is. If you're looking to own a UX agency in future, then, research UX agencies. How much do they make? Is that something you want to get into? Whatever you're aware, do some research on that. Gather data, gather information, because after all, we're UX designers and we love research. We're supposed to love research. So that's the first step after you identify your why and your where. And then as far as getting found, I just talked about that. We're going to go back to getting found. Proper positioning right here. You want to properly position yourself. How you do that? One, by networking. How do you build a network? Do research to identify the relevant networks that are going to be beneficial to you. And currently, Meetup, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, TikTok, and YouTube are on top of the list. The next step of how you can be found is by leaving breadcrumbs. What does that mean? Leaving breadcrumbs. Now, I know when I say breadcrumbs, a lot of people think, oh, just leave a comment. Like, no. Actual involvement. Be involved. If you identify a network that you want to be a part of, plug in, get involved, valuable comments, insight, likes, and all that, but not just, the standardized basic doing just to do, but actually putting in an effort to be a part of the conversation. That's leaving breadcrumbs. Now, those breadcrumbs will be valuable. So that's value added effort coming from you. What these two are going to do for you, we're going to follow this arrow back up here. Okay. What these two are going to do for you is that they're going to help you establish yourself in these communities or groups or social media, right? So the meetups and LinkedIn and everything we talked about. As you're leaving breadcrumbs and as you're providing value through that, you're establishing yourself in these communities. Now, you see what's happening here is that those efforts that you're making in order to leave breadcrumbs, in order to be found, are working their way backwards to where you started in your why, because on this journey, there is a part where you're going to need a job. That's the first step. You're going to need a job. So you going forward to identify where you're going and identifying how you can get there all benefits you along the way. Even here, as you can see that you're plugging in and your involvement in communities and groups are going to help you get a job. Okay, we're going to dig deeper and talk about that. Now, I want to mention, though, that on these dotted lines from why to where, right, these guys right here, as you're walking this journey, be curious at all times. Be curious, be open, keep learning, even as you're doing all these things we're talking about. Why? Because your where can change. Where you're going can change. and it is okay if it changes. So be curious as you're walking this journey from your why to your where.
Grossly disproportionate
Technology is always changing.
the amount
So
of businesses, more startups.
I think
more
there's some
manufacturers
feedback
type of
coming in. Anyway,
Sorry, does
technology is
everyone
always
mind
changing.
muting themselves? Thank you. Sorry, Will.
And
I wonder if I could do that here. Oh yeah, mute all. I could do that. Okay, so so technology is always changing, right? And therefore, look, your where might change. You know, initially, I think I wanted to own an agency at one point, and then that just evolved and changed over time. But you're gonna have all these different ideas and thoughts, but always try to channel it back to your why. It will create itself, you know, as you still dabble with why, where, it's going to come as you do more research and get more understanding. But your curiosity is going to guide you, it's going to help you to really identify and learn about new things and more opportunities as you walk this journey. So let's go back here into this part of plugging in and being found. You need a job. You're going to need a job in order to walk this journey, to break in. And then before we go to this next step here, let's go back to your where, because we were right here at value add. The fourth thing, well, how you add value to others. Okay, so we talked about adding value in communities and plugging in. Now we're going to talk about how you add value to others and companies. While you're plugging in, while you're being community oriented and involved, you're adding value to individuals' lives. Other designers, you're helping, you're doing design reviews, you're having coffee, you're learning about people, building a network, being genuine, being a human, right? Empathy. So you're doing all that, but that value add that you're providing is also going to help you here with your experience. Because through that value, through that involvement, you're gaining a lot of industry experience. You're learning, you're challenging yourself, you're being a part of the conversation, which a lot of times will have something to do with our processes, methodologies, our tools, and just really the entire direction of UX as a discipline. That experience will come in handy on your job. You see what I'm saying? So I wish I got the chance to like really, this looks crazy, but it gets crazier. We can dig deeper to get even further than what we have here, but this is still crazy enough. So let's just tackle it. But all this experience will be useful at your job. On the job, you're gonna need all that experience from your community involvement, from all the talks and all the, just everything that you've been through is gonna come in handy on your job. We'll come back to job, but let's go back, see how job connects to your involvement in community here, because you need a job to get a job. Yeah, I know. You need a job to get a job, right? So in order to get a job or get the job you want, you need to do all these things, right? And that's what we're talking about. So your community involvement, et cetera, will help you get that job. But before you get that, you also need a job. How do you do that? Well, the market is saturated, rightfully so. It's a great discipline, and we have fun doing what we do. But at the same time, you know, the more people get in there, then it's harder to get jobs, and just kind of, you know, it's a snowball effect. But don't be discouraged. You just have to have a strategy and know how to navigate it. So this is a little bit of light bulb for you. Don't be discouraged. You can do it. You will get there. You just have to have that strategy, that understanding, that know-how. Now, while we're talking about not being discouraged and, you know, having the know-how, I want to tell you what it's going to take to get there. This is the vehicle that you're driving on the road to your where. And you got to have drive. You got to have grit. You got to have hard work, and you must have perseverance. These are things you're going to need on this journey. I know it looks like a nice little slope, but it's more like a rocky terrain, if we're going to be honest. It's a roller coaster. It's draining. You're going to have some kind of passion, drive, grit, hard work, and perseverance to be able to really walk that journey. But it is very achievable. You can do it just like everybody else. All the content creators in UX that you follow, all the thought leaders that you follow, you can be that thought leader. It's very achievable. So let's go back to getting the job, because somehow we were working on our where, but somehow now we need a job to get to our where, and we'll pick back up on the where here soon. The first step after you identify your why is doing the research, right? Doing research on the industry. This part will make sense as we dig deeper. Your research will help you identify all the different types of verticals that are out there. UX design is more than just user experience design. There's interaction design. You guys probably know a lot of the new ones coming out. There's voice UX design, UI design, conversational. There's learning design. I mean, there are all these different things and all these different verticals that are contained within the UX profession. So your research will uncover all these different aspects for you that might get you excited to pursue one or more of the other, right? Or even to be a generalist, etc. UX research is another area. So these are all, well, there are unique journey requirements for each of them. So each vertical will have unique journey requirements. So that means once you identify, or once you get excited about a particular one, that's going to affect what type of job you want to get as your first job. And then that's also going to affect where you want to go, because now you won't just be a highly sought after UX professional, you're going to be a highly sought after learning UX professional. See, so now we're customizing the journey as we're doing this. So your research will play a role in identifying that end goal there. We're going to go back up this journey again here. And then after you conduct the research, you have to synthesize it, right? Same process, design thinking, etc. Synthesize, just analyze the research, pull in your everything you found. How much are they paying? What's the compensation like? What's the industry like? What's the population, the density? Is it saturated like the generalist UX is, or is it just a few people? You might have some room there to actually excel. So these are all things you need to consider. So as you're doing that and synthesizing it, then those results are going to influence, once again, right, your where. And then it might actually reverse back here and change your why, because maybe you just wanted job security, but then you find out that, you know what, you're passionate about teaching, you're passionate about helping others. So now you want to go into creating curriculum and being some kind of mentor or tutor at, a college or a boot camp, etc. So that synthesis part is going to help you a lot, both ways, where or why. Moving on. So now let's go back to the where, all the way to where you want to be. This is huge right here, recommendations. In order to be a highly sought after UX professional, you have to be found. In order to be found, you have to position yourself properly. In order to position yourself properly, you have to network. While you're networking, you're leaving breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs, not just any breadcrumbs, but value-added breadcrumbs, comments, community involvement that's going to take you all the way back up to plugging in community, activity, etc. Now, those values that you're providing are going to contribute to your experience on your job whenever you get that job. Okay, that's one nice little part up there. You could play the recording back to like type it out or iron it out, but I think that creates a nice little continuous journey in, let's say, one phase, right? One aspect of it. But this recommendations I left that for last because this is huge. Recommendations encompasses reputation. It encompasses your name. So if you want to be highly sought after, you have to be identified by something, right? Or if you want to, own an agency or whatever it is, make money, whatever it is, you have to have a name. That name is going to be attached to your recommendations. It's going to be attached to your reputation. So You need people to say good things about you. You need companies to brag about you. You need your managers and your supervisors to say, man, working with this particular candidate was incredible. They're passionate about their work. I love them. I don't want to lose them. Please don't go. Please work for us. You know, I want to promote you. You need that. How do you get that? Let's follow this arrow back again here. You need experience. How do you get experience? You're already building a network and plugging in. You're already staying in tune with, you know, trends and leaving breadcrumbs and providing value. All of that is going to contribute to the experience that you need here. And then as that journey is going on, you're getting great recommendations because everyone that crosses your path is loving it, is valuing you, and is also helping you get to this where that you want to go. As you're, I guess, collecting recommendations or growing recommendations by your efforts, these recommendations, following this arrow back up here again, you have to be really good. So we're talking about experience. We've talked about community involvement and everything, but your recommendations, your reputation and all that, if your managers and your team members are going to speak well of you, you have to be good. You have to be good at what you do. People are not going to praise, you know, mediocre work. You have to hold yourself to a very high standard as far as your goals, as far as your vision, like your work. You know, there are designers that I know that won't even upload certain works on their portfolio page on their website. They're like, no, this is not going on there. No, it's serious. You know, you have to hold yourself to a certain standard where you're like, hey, I can work in 1 million projects, but only 5 are going to make it up there because of that quality of work, that quality standard that I'm holding myself to. This really good, you being good, you working on your craft, learning, being efficient, learning how to manage your time, being up to date with trends and tools and methodologies. This will help you in your experience. It will help you on your job. And then down here is going to help you gain those amazing recommendations, reputation, and everything that you need to get you found. Okay. Now, you need a job right here. It's hard to get a job. I think we established that. Let's go down. So you plug in, you know, communities and groups. The benefit of that as well is you get referrals. People refer you. They're like, hey, you know, we have this role. Come on, join it or apply. I'll send you a recommendation. Well, recommendation. That's that word again. People don't just give recommendations to people they don't know. You have to build a network and build some relationships, but you also have to have the experience, and you have to be good. You have to be worth it. You have to be worth it, right? So you are worth it, but you have to, yeah, you are worth it, but you have to perfect your craft. I think a lot of designers learn the basics and stop there. You learn the basics. UX design is a continuous learning journey. There are so many books. I don't even know if you can see. There are books on my desk, books and just books everywhere. Constantly learning, constantly reading. It's not a destination. You have to continue to build and continue to improve. So that's where this comes in. As you're doing that and gaining the experience that goes with it, it's going to help you stand out. This part is not something you do. It's something that comes as an effect of everything else you're doing. I started this little, these 3 columns here on this left side that I want to build out whenever I get time. What you want being one column, what you do being the next column, and then the consequences or the other benefits that come with these efforts. I want to build these out in relation to reversing your UX, your ideal UX career, just to outline, okay, if you're building a community or you're plugging in here, there are side benefits to that. And then what you want is the end goal of what you're looking for. So that's something that whenever I get time, I can work on, but it's also an idea for anyone out there that wants to explore that and build that out. But your work, your efforts, all of that, those efforts that you put in are going to help you stand out. Keep in mind, we're talking about where you want to be. You're talking about being highly sought after. You're talking about having job security. You need to be found. In order to be found, you have to stand out. So we come back here. You need to stand out. How do you stand out? You don't force it. You're already unique, right? There's only one of you in the entire UX discipline. Doesn't matter how many UX designers there are. That's just a title. You're still unique and you're still you. You have something different that I don't have. You have something different that the next designer doesn't have. So all your efforts in the breadcrumbs in the community and looking for a job, et cetera, providing value are going to help you stand out and be unique to you, which is what you already are. You're 1 in 7.5 billion. I think we get the idea. You're very unique. So your process, your methodology, your ideas, that's unique to you. No one else is going to have that. That's why brainstorming sessions in companies are so are taken very seriously, because every individual in that room is going to have a unique idea that can help the company grow. It's important, very important. So you've done your research. You want to be found. You're going to stand out. You're working on being good and being even better than where you were yesterday. But you have to be prepared. So we're going to go back here and say, all right, this is where you want to be. You want to be highly sought after. In order to be highly sought after, you have to be found. Well, in order to be found, you have to do all these things. Now, when you're found, what happens? You have to be prepared. I'm going to leave that there, and then we're going to go to try to get you a job. Okay. So let's go back up here. Let's get you a job. You need a job. So you need a job. So how you get your first job is, right, you plug in, you're doing all the other things down below, and then the results of your plugging in here will, provide value, help you gain experience. But looking for that job, you're going to have to strategically choose. This is very important. Please pay attention here. As you did your research and synthesized and figured out where you want to go and what industry, what vertical is best for you that you think you're going to excel in and which ones you're passionate about, when it comes time to find a job, even if it's your first one, you're going to have to strategically let those research data influence where you go, which company you decide to go with or apply to, whether it's paid or unpaid internships, whether they're charities, whether they're contract roles or short-term roles. So for example, well, I'll get back to this part in a second. But for example, someone who wants to work at a really large company might be better off taking short-term contract roles with other large companies. If you want to, because it's easier to get a 3-month short-term role than it is to get a full-time role at large companies, right? The interview process is rigorous, it's intense, you have hundreds and thousands of applicants, etc. But you could get contract roles through agencies easier than going the full-time route, right? So if you did your research and you discovered some of these things, you might understand that. It might guide where you go as you're looking. Excuse me, because just getting online and getting on Indeed or LinkedIn, searching for a job, it's not, you have to have a direction, right? That's why we have this journey. That's why you're in this sweet convertible here. Well, it's more like a Bentley, but anyway, here, driving to your where, okay? So strategically choose paid or unpaid internships. In what industry? Charities. What charity? Do you even want to do a charity? You want to volunteer? They're probably not going to have money to pay you, but does it matter? You might have to take a side job. And that's okay. A lot of us that are senior UX designers that are, where we want to be, there are times where we took side jobs to really handle like bills and stuff, and then pour our passion into becoming incredible at our jobs, becoming incredible at UX, at what we love to do. Because, you know, it's not an instant, it doesn't happen overnight, right? You have to put in the work. But if you have these opportunities here that are going to help you drive your Bentley into your where, then having a side job temporarily while you check some of these boxes is still an option. No one is going to judge you, and feel free to do that. So now that you've strategically chosen where you want to go, paid, unpaid, charity, short-term, etc., these experiences are also opportunities to learn and deliver your best quality work. This right here, this is like, you know, that entry level first jobs, whatever, just trying to navigate and really understand yourself and your place in the industry. This is going to give you an opportunity to learn. You're learning processes, you're learning working with teams, you're learning deliverables and developers and team members and collaboration. All of these things that you're learning here are going to help you back in your experience that will also contribute to your recommendations, to your value add, and then we come back here, contribute to you becoming really good. Because you're gonna be more efficient, you're gonna have better time management skills, you're gonna be up to date with trends and tools and methodologies because you're working in the industry, you're interacting with people, you're gonna encounter a lot of obstacles. And as you navigate all of that, your experience grows. Now, once you have those experiences and everything, you're already looking good here because now you have an experience and you can get the job that you want, which is here. This cycle here with the jobs might actually need to happen for you 2 or 3 times before you're ready to take on that big where role, right? Before you feel like you've arrived. The reason is because maybe you might need to take 2 or 3 more contract roles to get like real experience, get more work for your portfolio, quality work, more recommendations, expand your network and all of that. And you need the experience. Look, it's very important to have the experience because you can dream all the exciting, you know, places you want to be in, you know, places you want to go. But if you get there and it's not everything that you thought, you're not going to be happy, right? And also, if you get there and you've bitten more than you can chew, you're not going to be happy. So all of these experiences are going to help you as you walk that journey, or in this case, drive that journey to where you want to go. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then also, this part, this is incredible. I should have put like a light bulb or something here. So shares. You do get shares from like startups and, you know, smaller companies that are looking for UX help, etc. If you're able to get in on something that you've strategically chosen, they usually are offering, hey, we'll give you 0.1% share or 0.2%, whatever it is. You might actually come out of this cycle here with like 50 shares or something, or 50% shares in like a total, you know, combined shares that you hold. And as you just go about driving in your Bentley all the way to your where, by the time you get here, you realize that, oh, wait, you know, that startup company that you built an interface for, guess what? Now they're worth 10 billion. Ooh, now your 0.2 or 2% is now very, very, very exciting, right? So everything is connected in this web of UX journey to where you want to be. And I think that's the exciting part that I wanted to share. It's like every single aspect, you know, I've given so many talks, etc. And I think this one is really incredible. I'm glad it's the first one because, you know, I've been able to kind of just put some thought into how a lot of the things we do on our journey can help us in this big cycle as we get to where we truly want to be. So let me see here if I missed anything. And then I'm going to sum it up. The summary, I think, is what I want you to also take note as well. Now, we have a few pointers here that I want to go through really quickly. Let's see here. So, after you've gained the experience and all that, yeah, you have experience. You've done some short-term contracts. You've done startup work. You feel good. Like now you speak, you speak the language. You talk the talk. You walk the walk. You can have debates. You can really have a conversation and be heard. Now you have to be prepared, right? We talked about that. So you're still not ready at the experience level to just jump into your where. You need to be prepared, because when the opportunity knocks, you have to be ready. That would mean interview prep and readiness, right? And hopefully that experience as you're working for companies will help you have more interviews where you can kind of feel more comfortable. Your soft skills, right? Dispute resolution, and just really how you, collaboration skills, how you relate with your team members if a dispute or a disagreement occurs, etc. Your reputation, that's always going to come into play as you're doing great work. If you understand where you're going and what is needed to get there, your entire work experience, your entire relations with your team members, with your projects, with your supervisors, it's going to change the way you approach them, because you're going to be approaching them with the highest level of passion and high quality, highest level of highest quality standard. So then all the work you're going to be putting out are going to be incredible, are going to be great, going to be something that you're proud of, and that's going to help with your reputation as you impact people's lives, companies' lives, and just everything that you touch. You definitely want to work on your speaking and communication skills, because you're going to be presenting a lot in UX. You're presenting, to stakeholders, etc. And then, of course, your writing skills. Definitely work on that. Even if you're not a UX writer, take some writing lessons. There's so many online courses, LinkedIn Learning, whatever. Just basic writing, or just advanced, whatever it is. Start digging deeper in there, because writing is a huge part of what we do. Even though you're not a UX writer, your ability to direct, or to map out content direction, etc., could come in handy. Well, will come in handy, and also could come in handy as you discover which vertical you're more passionate about. You might actually discover that you love writing, which will help you go into a UX writing vertical. All of these different things that you're working on will help you get a sense of direction into the area that you want to specialize in. As you drive this journey, you're doing research, you're doing this, you're doing that. These will all help you have more clarity as you get closer and closer to your where. You could actually be this close to your where, and everything, well, the where would change. Your destination would change. This close to it. But that's okay, because by the time you get here, you've done all this, you've gotten all the experience needed, and then you've also just built out all the different tools that you need mentally and physically to be able to handle your arrival here, to be able to fit in perfectly where you don't feel like you're an imposter. And then at that point, when you arrive, get crazy, innovate, go wild. Don't limit yourself. Because at that point, you've been through a lot, you've been through incredible experiences, and you know what you're talking about. You know what, you are sure if you make certain assumptions, even though we don't want to make a lot of assumptions in UX, but if you do, you know that they're going to generate great results and close results to the one that you envisioned or saw. So in summary here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. In summary here, identifying your why, conducting some research to figure out, where your passion lies and how that's going to help you to get to where you want to go. Once you identify that, you work your way back. You have to be found. You need to build a network, leave some breadcrumbs, value added. And how you add that is going to determine if you're going to gain recommendations, you're going to have a good reputation. Now, in order to get the recommendations and the good reputation, you definitely want to be really, really good. You want to keep working. You want to have the experience. In order to have experience, you need a job. In order to have a job, you need to plug in communities, build a network. As you're building a network, don't forget the big guys, Meetup, LinkedIn, Clubhouse, TikTok, YouTube. Do your research to identify the relevant networks that are available to you. As you're looking for a job, you might actually have to do some more research and strategically identify which areas you want to go into, paid, unpaid internships, what industries, what verticals, charities, contract roles, full-time or short-term roles, and you might need to get a side job, you know, as you do that, and that's still okay. Now, after you have built all the necessary tools to be found, make sure you're prepared when you're found. You have to be ready. Interview preparation and readiness. Have the soft skills, learn, make sure your reputation is on point, keep working on it. Learn some speaking and communicative skills, some writing skills. As you do that, it's gonna help you have a sense of direction as you get closer and closer in your Bentley to your where. And then now that you have a sense of direction, you know exactly where you're going, what you want to specialize in, get crazy, innovate, and don't let anything stop you. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All
Thank,
right, there
thank
you
you,
go.
Will. That has been amazing. I could not type fast enough. You can ask the UXU team. I have so many spelling mistakes while trying to quote you in our group. Yeah, I just couldn't type fast enough. So thank you. That really was amazing. I hope everyone has enjoyed this. We have a couple minutes if that's okay. Should I open up for questions? Does that
Yeah,
sound good to
absolutely.
you,
Please.
Will? Alrighty. So if anyone has a
Yes.
question, please either turn off your mic and hop on stage. I guess I feel like I'm in Clubhouse right now, or put it in the chat if you're more comfortable with that. But we would appreciate if you would be comfortable, or we would be happy if you would come join us on camera as well. It's easier, a little more friendly. So yeah, does anyone have a question? It's hard to see.
Yes, and I'll share let me share the file with you guys in the chat right now, because I probably won't remember to, you know how people are like, oh, I'll send you the slide. I never do. I just send it here.
James, did you have a question?
I was just going to ask about the sketch file, but William's sharing it. So thank you, William. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an image because the sketch, anyway, I'm sharing it now in the chat. So I think I shared it to Miguel by mistake. So let me share it to everyone. Yeah, just download it, and that's my handwriting, but it kind of shows you the vision there. And if any of you want to digitize that and make it look all pretty, that's awesome. Do it and send it to me, and put your name on it. We can share it with a broader UX team. That's also how you provide value. So these are all opportunities.
Hey, Will, I have a question for you.
Definitely.
You talked a lot about identifying your why, and I appreciated your why, like your specific why. What advice would you give to anybody who is having a hard time identifying their why? What kind of questions would you ask yourself on a personal level for that?
So that's a good question. So I would say it's really like, why do you want to be in UX? It's kind of like you're being interrogated. So it goes down to how did you discover that discipline? How did you even get into it? Or what decision did you make? What was that turning point for you? So it could just be a simple, well, I was a waiter, and look, COVID hit, I needed to find something else, and I heard about UX. There's no judgment there. That's fine. But once you identify that, it's going to help you figure out, okay, well, I'm trying to find job security. I'm trying to find something that, will stand the times, that will, not just change because the pandemic hit, something that will give me income or whatever. If that's what it is, that's good. But figure out that turning point for you. For me, I've always been a designer. My major was in 3D animation, so I had to study graphic design and web design and 3D and all that. So, and I can draw. So I love art. It's just me. I love computers. So it was just perfect, right? Graphic design. And then I discovered UX. Oh, there's software, and it's different from graphic design. So I got curious. Well, why is it not the same? Well, you're thinking in 300 DPI here, and here you're thinking in pixels, and it's like it's very different, right? So things like that really just got me excited, and then I decided I'm going to go all in UX design, and also since I had fun in engineering background, it was cool because we're building websites. Back in the day, web designers had to build the website as well and design it. But now you have all these different roles. But as we're building websites, it's like, well, if I can just do the design, that's going to get me excited because I hate coding. So, you know, as those things unfolded, sometimes it's going to come one at a time. But as those things unfolded, I realized, I don't want to do anything with code. If you guys can hire a developer, I will do incredible design and I'll be happy. So those are how, you know, I identified my whys as I went along. But that would be a question, that turning point for you. What was that turning point?
Great question. So I saw several people in the chat have been asking about what book recommendations you would give to them. I know I have one specifically myself I give to all my mentees, and that would be your book, 101 Random UX Tips. Gotta
Yay!
always in
This one. This is
Yep,
the one I'll
great
get.
book, everyone. If you've never read it, go get it. I put the link in the chat at one point. I can re-add it. But yeah, are there any other books that you
Miguel's got his.
recommend? There we go. I'd go
It's
get mine
awesome.
if I had it, but it's not with me.
So I'll be honest with you guys. Look, any of you who have attended my speeches or my talks, I'm honest. I keep it raw. I keep it nitty gritty, basic, practical. I didn't write this book to make money. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wrote this book because you want to hear the trick, because I wanted to provide value. I wanted to provide value. That same blueprint I just gave you guys, that's what I've been using, you know? And this, you know, things like this, I got this book translated in 4 languages: Spanish, German, Italian, something like, it's like 4 languages on my, you know, LinkedIn, and got it self-published, paid for it, all of that. Why? Because I wanted to provide value. But then it's not just content that's not true. I had to work at actually making sure, doing my research, making sure that every advice that I gave in here, every tip actually is going to help someone. You see what I'm saying? So there are lots of everything that we do, lots of the different parts of your efforts are going to help you in the long run, because my research, my, you know, the talks that I give and everything I learned from it and all of that. But this is just value add. See that part that I talked about? That's one of the value add. And then now you see Frankie's like, hey, this book is incredible. That's reputation. That's encouragement. That's recommendation. So now I don't even have to go sell myself, because the value is doing that for me. It's important, guys. Like this blueprint that I shared with you, I promise you, I haven't heard anybody share something like this in the industry. And, you know, I'm excited to just give you guys the tools. You do this, like just from that why to the where, tie it into your passion, it has to come from the heart. You know, if it's not from the heart, even if it's just the money, look, it has to be from the heart. Even if you're like, look, I just want to be able to pay my bills and make a good living. That's honesty, that's truth. And that would help you get to where you're going. I talk a lot, so I'll let you guys ask questions.
I see James has a question.
Yeah. By the way, it's you can read the book as part of Kindle Unlimited, so that's pretty cool, William.
Oh yeah, that's right. I put it on Kindle too. It's on Kindle, and it's yeah. It's an audiobook. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
I did it in audio too. Look,
good price and everything.
Look, so
just my question was, as a senior UX designer, how do you interact with product managers and software engineers throughout the day, or throughout your week?
In simple, you have to love them. You have to love them, because it's kind of like the body, right? There are different parts. So there are the hands, there are the head, you know, nostrils. Every part has a different function, and every part's function is important. So the PM is usually the head, right? Kind of running the show. And then the UX designer is either, you know, the hands, and engineers are probably the body and the logistics and everything. So your interaction, it's going to differ on each. This is the key. It's going to differ to each engineer, to each PM. Guys, if you haven't heard anything from this talk, like this part is important. Your relationship to engineers, to product managers, to team members, is going to be different for each one, because everyone is unique. Everyone is a human. They have their own ways. They're, you know, like they're still individuals that you have to get to know. You have to learn. You have to, all this empathy that we talk about in UX, you have to do that in everything you do. Literally, like be empathic to your PM, be empathic to your engineers, be empathic to your team. All of that, apply all of these tools in your day-to-day work activities, because that would help you build a great relationship with them. And then also the company will have definitely rules and ways, processes and methodologies that you can use to, as far as agile or, whatever method, sprint cycles, et cetera, that you guys are using to roll out product. But on a personal level, you have to listen in on, hey, how do you want me to, hand over files to you? How do you want us to track some of the projects we're working on? You want to use Teams, or you want to use, Slack, or whatever the flexibility that you guys have within the confines of, your corporate law, or corporate rules. Build that one-on-one unique relationship, because, and you might find yourself supporting 4 or 5 different teams, and that'll be 4 or 5 different PMs, but they're not going to work the same way. You have to still approach each PM and each engineer as a different, individual and entity, because they are. And once you do that, everything's going to just kind of follow like that. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Like, it's just really being present with them and identifying how, how they want to work with you on your processes, et cetera.
So I know we're starting to go a bit over, or we have gone over time a little bit. Will, do you mind answering one more question? Do you have time for that?
I can be here for the next 30 minutes if you guys want me to. Just let me know when you're done. And I love this. I love, because I'm learning a lot, and this is all great stuff. So yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it. And then
Sure.
go for it. And then Karen had a question I was going to ask after, but go for it. I apologize. I don't know who just spoke.
That's me, Ekta.
Ekta, yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned that to get experience, people should work like as an intern or volunteer for charities. And I am currently volunteering for charities, but I was curious about when we get recommendations from charities or unpaid positions. Are they valued less in industry compared to like a recommendation from an employer?
No. That's a great question. So they're not valued less. It all depends on where you're going. Keep in mind, like, so I know, on a general level, it might sound like, okay, it's a charity, it's a nonprofit, 5 people, it might not have that same pool. But if you're looking in the vertical of maybe social impact, all of those charity work and recommendations are going to have a lot of value, more than someone who's coming in from, like, a tech startup that's like, oh, hey, I did this and that. Well, do you have any social, inclinations? Are you passionate about anything, socially? Well, no. Okay, then they won't qualify for the job. You would qualify for that job more than they would. You see what I'm saying? So no, it's not valued less. It just depends on where you're going. Right? It really, coming back to what we're talking about, where you're going will affect where you work, where you intern, all of that. You have to know that, because if you just take any internship, you can, because that could be part of your exploration. But if you take any internship, et cetera, sometimes it might be harder to tie it back to where you're going. So you want to know, kind of try to identify, at least have a clear vision, so that you're making strategic. It's all about strategy, strategic moves towards that direction.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know we had a question from Karen that a lot of people were +1ing to, or however you want to say that expression. So I'll read the question. It was, what's the one pitfall you see junior UX designers fall into the most?
One. Karen, why one?
Or all.
Junior designers. I think I talk about a lot of them in my book, but let me see. I think the first one that comes to mind right now is, applying to the wrong positions. Okay, so if you're entry level, don't apply to senior level roles. Like, you're crushing your soul. You won't get it, and you're gonna feel like, you're not good. You're gonna feel horrible, and then you stop applying it, and you're gonna get burned out, and you're gonna hate UX, and you're gonna quit and do something else. Apply to, like, entry level roles. Like, you have to bite, how do I say this? Like apply to roles that you are qualified for. There you go. See what I mean? So that would be the biggest one. But look, even as a senior UX designer, I can apply to director roles all I want. If I apply to a director role at like a large corporation, I won't get it, even though I may be good or I may be experienced or whatever, because I'm just not there. You understand? Like I'm not qualified for that because there are unique qualifications that you need at every level in just the corporate world, period. So if you're entry level or junior designer, figure out, okay, how many years do you have? 1 or 2? Okay, don't apply for a 4-year role. I know there are lots of content that are like, oh yeah, just apply for that job. Don't feel disqualified. The thing is, it's crushing your soul. Look, when I apply to jobs and they turn me down, it hurts. And I'm a senior UX designer. Okay, it still hurts because I'm like, because I feel like, well, I have all these experience, but it's not personal. It's just that these roles are getting thousands of applicants. So if 1,000 applications come in and then let's say 900 of them are all 4 years and you're like, oh, I could do it. And you apply, you don't even meet that first criteria. You see what I'm saying? For them to kind of go through. So you're just kind of wasting your time and hurting yourself. But that would be the big one. And then let me see, there's so many of them, but that's the first one. And then also poor networking, or kind of what we talked about, networking, leaving breadcrumbs. I don't think junior designers understand that a lot. Like, I know I'm saying a lot of don't and do and don't, but look, you can decide to take it or not. I don't want to kind of make absolute statements, but don't, but don't like send messages to designers asking for recommendations when they don't even know you, like, or there's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work like that, because what are they going to say? A recommendation or a review is like you have to say something. So they're putting their reputation at stake, their own recommendation at stake, if they recommend you and you're not qualified for the job. You see? So I know some of you might have seen that, we have open roles at PayPal, and that's great, but you have to be qualified for it. Like, I can't, because we're in a network, I can just say, oh, you're in my network. So because it's business. Like, UX is business. You see what I mean? It's fun, we love it, it's creative, but it's still business. So we have to be honest with ourselves. But yeah, so asking for recommendations when there's no relationship, etc. And even just saying, well, I just saw, Frankie, Frankie says message individuals about the content or what they said at the talk to get the conversation started before asking for a job. That's a great tip. And exactly. But even then, don't ask for the job for like, oh, you know what? So my addition to that will be, do that for sure, but don't even ask for a job. Oh, different, right? Like these are things I've done. Like, I build relationships. I don't even mention job. It's weird. It's like reverse psychology kind of thing. Like, be genuine. Just seriously, if I post something, I get so many messages. I have messages I haven't responded for like years, and it's just like bombarded. It's good. That's where I wanted to be. I'm not complaining, right? But then every now and then I'll get a message that's very intriguing. Somebody maybe commenting on something that I said or challenging something, and I'm just like, what? You know what I mean? And then I respond. Next thing you know, there's a conversation. And next thing you know, it's like there's some kind of familiarity or acquaintance with this person. So providing value as you leave breadcrumbs. See, like so the breadcrumbs, it involves messaging people and say, hey, I love that talk you gave. That was great. I think XYZ. But you know what? I questioned this other part that you said. What do you think? This and that. Senior designers and a lot of designers and industry experts, we know this stuff. We know you're messaging us because you want to like get a job. But it's like, that's the thing. Like, let's all be like let's level with each other, right? Like, I guess some messages I get are like, hey, well, I want to, I want to learn more about your role at PayPal and what you're working on at PayPal. First of all, why would this might be mean, but this is like real. Like, why would I just want to get connected with you just to tell you about my role at PayPal? What's in it for me? Because senior UX designers are so busy. They're working on large projects and real, like high impact projects. And if they take some time out, like even having, this conversation and doing this talk, it's like, it's value. If you're not providing value and you send like a very blunt, kind of generic message like that, it doesn't even prompt a response. But if you're challenging like a methodology or challenging a comment or something, we put aside everything because it's intellectual. Designers speak like a designer to a designer. If you're truly a UX designer, speak like a UX designer to a designer, and that will kind of get you into all the doors that you're looking for. Like I've messaged other senior designers and just said, man, that was a good talk. Like I see you, I love how you did this and that, great talk. And just left it at that. They might respond, they might not, but I wasn't even looking for anything. But then come to find out that later on down the line, they're hiring for something. And then they're like, oh, hey, well, like, are you interested? I mean, I could send you a recommendation. Or, I've had people that I just interacted with on a very generic basis as in like a like or a comment, and just kind of stalking their profile. Like, man, I like how you worked your way up. Like you started as a senior UX designer, now you're a director. Whoa, that's incredible. And it's not just a small company, because look, you could get a director role at a startup, and it's your director, but you're not like director at like, you know what I mean? Like you got the title, but you're not there yet. So, and the other day I saw someone with a director role, and then the next role is senior UX designer. And I'm like, so that's what you don't want. See what I'm saying? You can't get too wild and too crazy on titles, but then the titles are not representative of where you are. That's another, that just came right now. But yes, that's another pitfall. Like junior designers might do that. Like, ooh, I'm a head of UX design at this startup, but you only have 1 years of experience. And then now your next role is entry-level designer or junior designer at this other company. You're not like, it's not impressive. If anything, it's a very like sharp fall, and it's not attractive on a portfolio. So be honest, like UX designer, senior UX, this, that, and then you work your way up. So that's one. And there's so many more, but if you add me and follow me, I'm sure I'll be posting about a lot of them. Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to end it there. I think that was a great question to end it on. So much gold and nuggets from that. I honestly, my mind is blown. So thank you.
Awesome.
We really, really appreciate you coming out tonight and speaking with us and joining everyone from honestly all over the world, which is amazing. So thank you. And thank you to everyone for coming and sticking with us, even though we ran a little late as usual. But thank you for your questions. I know we didn't get to all of them, but we want to be appreciative of Will's time. So thank you. I see everyone thanking Will in the chat. So thanks. I was going to say that. Anyone else on the team want to add anything, or Will?
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is awesome. I love doing this because it gets my ideas going. It gets me excited about what we do. It reminds me of my why, which is passion. I'm just passionate about this. I'm passionate about UX. So it's incredible. And hey, just let me know whenever you guys want to do it again. We can make it happen. But add me on LinkedIn, and then start working on your breadcrumbs and all that, because I'm very vocal, and I share a lot of tips, but also add me, and then add in, I want you to add me, but also the people that I'm connected with. Oh, here's a tip. So when you ask someone and they say, like LinkedIn will give you like a recommendations or something, add those people too. That's a free tip right there. Like when you ask someone, they accept it or something, it'll tell you friends you may know or something like that. Like boom, boom, just connect with all of them. That's how you expand your network. But you're welcome.
Will, what's your LinkedIn URL, just so that people can?
Well, if you search my name, William Ntim, but let me find it.
Someone just added it in the chat.
Just throw it in the
okay.
There you go. Multiple people beat you to it.
There's only one William Ntim, though.
I'm telling you guys, this is value right here. Thank you so much, Jose. Like, I hope we're friends, and message me, man. Like that right there, that's incredible. Like, see, right there, Jose just provided value to me, and I want to chat with Jose. Like, send me a message, I'll respond. Let me know you're the guy who posted the link in the chat, and we'll have like virtual coffee or something. So Oh, Sharon said we're all on it. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you for the time, and I hope I get to connect with you guys again soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks. Thanks, Will.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.